Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing a prom look for prom 2016 since it is the season and it's coming up in a couple weeks. I wanted to do just a look with a nice pop of color but still not too dramatic, just fresh, bright look. I also included some good tips that'll help you with getting ready and help you get through the night with still good face of makeup. So if you would like to see how to get this look and if you'd like to hear a couple tips, just keep watching. First off, I'm going to prime my face. If you are oily, definitely stick to a mattifying primer and a mattifying foundation because, like I said, you'll be out all night partying, dancing, do whatever you do on prom, and obviously the oils will come through and your foundation will wear off a little bit, but if you make sure that you use a mattifying primer and foundation, it'll definitely last longer and it'll definitely help you stay matte throughout the night. So what I recommend is definitely the Professional, it's really hot in my room, the Professional Matte Rescue. This really does make a difference with staying matte throughout the day. So I'm going to start by putting this on my face. Spray my face with the Smashbox Photo Finish Primer Water. I got this in the mail the other day and I used it once and I don't know if I noticed a big difference. I'm not really sure because I already have primer on, but I do like the idea of like just spraying it on your face and giving your face that extra prime. But I do really like the idea of a spray. I really love spray. I love like setting sprays. It just feels good on your skin. So I'm going to spray this all over my face. I don't know if you notice how weird it is that I'm starting off with my face because I never start off I can't talk today. I can never talk whenever I film. But I never start off with my face. I don't know why. So moving on to foundation, I am going to use the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Matte Foundation. And like I said, for oily skin, you want to make sure you use mattifying foundation. And this foundation is one of my all-time favorite foundations ever. And this will keep you matte for like days and days and days. So this will be perfect for prom night when you're out doing whatever. So I highly recommend this. And also a tip for prom night, you want to make sure you're not using a foundation with SPF in it because SPF will flash back in pictures. So it'll make your face look really white and you obviously don't want a flashback in your pictures. So I highly recommend this foundation if you are oily. Okay, so now that we have foundation on, I'm going to move on to my under eyes. I'm going to start off with the Becca Under Eye Brightening Corrector. And I would recommend using an under eye. You can also, NYX has a color correcting palette that's very cheap and it comes with the salmon colored under eye. And this will just brighten up your under eyes, and obviously for prom you want to have like a bright, fresh looking face, so this will help a lot. And I haven't noticed that it flashbacks in pictures at all. I really need a different backdrop. I'm using one of those like clothes hangers. I can't think of what it's called, but I'm using that with like a sheet over it. But now that we have that on, I'm going to move to concealer, which I also got this. This is the Tarte Rainforest of the Sea. I got this in the mail yesterday, I think it was. I am obsessed with this, in love. I actually ordered the foundation today. I would recommend this for prom night because it is very lightweight. It is water-based. It's going to be very lightweight under your eyes, and obviously you don't want anything like heavy when you're going to be moving all day and like sweating. I would definitely recommend this, and I didn't notice any problems with creasing, which is also very good for prom day. Now I'm going to set everywhere that I put concealer on. I'm going to set it with Anastasia's banana powder. You can use any setting powder, any banana powder. A tip that I recommend for anyone, any type of skin that you have, is set your foundation and concealer. Just make sure you set it, because throughout the day, you're going to be moving a lot and sweating. You want your makeup to stay in place and not move throughout the whole day. So setting it will definitely help that. And then so since I have oily skin, I'm going to set my entire face with the Rimmel Stay Matte powder. And moving on to bronzer, I'm going to be using the Butter Bronzer from Physicians Formula. This is one of my favorite bronzers. Smells like coconuts. I would really recommend this for prom night because it's not an intense bronzer. It doesn't have any shimmer. It doesn't really have a sheen to it. It's just a very pretty bronzer that will give a nice color to your face. And then a tip for bronzer, if you put it along your jawline, it'll kind of sculpt out the jawline and give the shadow an appearance that you have a very structured jawline. Now moving on to bronzer, or contour, I'm going to use the bronzer that's in, it's this little compact thing from MAC, and the bronzer is called Sculpt. And it has a bronzer, a shaping powder, and then it has a cream highlight once you open it up. And I'm going to use the bronzer from in here. And like I said, I don't want to go too overboard with, I keep saying bronzer, sculpting powder. I don't want to go too overboard. I want just a nice, not too sculpted out, but you know. And I'm using a Luxie 512 small contouring brush, which I love this brush for contouring. Now we're going to set the under eye with my Laura Mercier translucent powder, and you want to make sure it's a translucent powder and not, I forget what the other ones are called, but not the like stark white ones, because it will flash back in pictures and it will give you that like, just like I said, stark white under eye, which I personally don't think looks good in pictures. So we are going to set our under eyes. I'm going to start with, I'm going to mix, this is the Morphe Jaclyn Hill Favorites palette, and I recommend this palette because it's such a wide range of colors that you could think of. So for the transition color, I'm going to mix this like taupey brown color and this kind of orange color. It kind of comes off more orange on camera, but I'm going to mix those two for my transition color. And make sure you are using a light hand because you don't want any harsh lines. You kind of just want it to seamlessly blend out. And now I'm going to take this brighter pinkish orange color. It kind of reminds me of Poppy from Makeup Geek a little bit. But I'm just, this step isn't necessary, but I just want to put it just to kind of give that a bit more like pop of spring color, because it's just that time of the year. And I'm keeping this lower in the crease than I did with the transition color. Now I'm going to take this dark purple, yeah, it's definitely purple. This is very dark purple, and I'm going to use a very, very light hand because, like I said, I don't want too harsh lines and too dark of colors, but you do want that like kind of smoked out look. And I'm just going to place this in the outer corner. So going back in with a blending brush, I'm just going to blend this into my crease. See, it's not too dramatic, but it does give you that little bit of smokiness. So now that I have finished with both of my eyes, and you can see that it gives you that pop of color, but it isn't too much to where it's like, whoa girl, you need to chill. I'm actually going to leave the lid of my eye with nothing on it because I want it to stay matte and kind of brighter. So I'm not going to put any shadow on it. So moving back to my face, I'm going to wipe off the translucent powder. And as you can see, it kind of just cleaned up the contour, but not too much to where it's like that straight line. So I'm going to fill in my brows. As I have been, I use both the Brow Wiz and the Brow Definer. So another tip for prom night is you want to make sure you are not using a color that is too dark for you. You want to make sure that your eyebrows fit your skin tone and your hair color. I know I've been kind of struggling with finding a color for me, and my roots are lighter now, so this color might actually be too dark for me, but you just want to make sure that you are not using a color that's too dark for you because it'll kind of wash out your face. It'll make you look paler than you really are, and it'll just kind of look off, especially in pictures because pictures kind of accentuate features. So you want to make sure that you are not using a color that is too dark for you. So now that I'm done filling in my brows, another tip is making sure you set your eyebrows. Just like you have to set your under eye concealer, your foundation, you need to set your brows because obviously the pencil will wear off and your brows will move, but if you set it, it'll stay right in place. They won't move, they won't wipe away, whatever. So I use Maybelline Brow Drama. I don't know if I would recommend this. I know there's many other stuff. I have heard that Anastasia has a really good brow gel. This doesn't really do much, I feel like. It doesn't really add much color. It doesn't really make it more full, but this is kind of all I have right now. So for the sake of this video, a tip for prom is to set your brows. And it's something I like to do is kind of brush the hairs up and then go over the top and kind of like just make it go with the shape of your brow. It makes it look more full. So moving on to blush. This is Peaches from MAC, and I think this is a perfect color for this time of the year. It's the name. It's a peachy color, and it's just very, very pretty. And I like to use a stippling brush for blush because it doesn't pick up too much product, so it makes it look more natural, and it makes you not look like you have like contour, blush, highlight. It just kind of blends it all together. So now I'm going to apply my liner. As always, you don't have to apply liner, but I just think that liner is such an easy way to kind of like glam up a look without being too much. So I'm first going to start by lining my eye with the e.l.f. cream eyeliner. This is a very cheap, and I think it's a dupe for like any liner. I just always feel like drugstore gel liners are better than like high-end, or they're just kind of the same thing. And now I'm going to create my wing with Kat Von D's Tattoo Liner and Trooper. You don't have to do a wing, just like you don't have to do an eyeliner, but I do recommend that you do a liner because you want to make sure that when most people wear fake eyelashes for big events like prom, so you want to make sure that you can't see like the skin between the lashes. So using liner, at least just a little bit of liner, will help that. So I actually did my eyeliner, put mascara on, and put fake lashes on. These are the Huda Beauty lashes in Scarlet, and they are very dramatic, and they are kind of really heavy. I don't know if I would be comfortable. I don't know if all of her lashes are like this, or if it's just this, these Scarlet ones, but they are very heavy, so I don't know if I probably wouldn't wear to prom. These are kind of the only lashes I had right next to me, so I used these. But a tip is to make sure that you let the glue dry, and then you go over the liner with more, just kind of go over it so that the glue doesn't show through. So I'm just going to go over a little bit. Just make sure that the glue doesn't show through. And then since we do want a bright-eyed look, a tip is to line your waterline with either a nude or a white pencil. White might be a little bit too much, but nude will just kind of brighten up your eyes a whole lot and make such a huge difference. So especially for prom and pictures, you want your eyes to be nice and bright and open. So a good tip is just to line your waterline with a nude liner. Next, I'm going to go back in with the Morphe palette, and I don't want to put too much on my lower lash line, but I just want to put a little bit because putting a darker color on your lash line will kind of close your eyes in, so I just want a tiny bit on my lower lash line, so I'm going to go back in with this kind of lighter brown taupey color, and I'm just going to put that on my put this on my lower lashes. And then I'm going to take this precision brush, and I'm going to go in with a tiny bit of the darker purple that we used, and I'm going to brush it off and go very close to the lash line and kind of line my lash line. But you want to make sure that you're not going down too far, and you're only putting a little bit. So now I'm going to coat my lower lashes with mascara. Now I'm going to take Nylon from MAC, which is a frosted shadow with yellow undertones. And it's just very like frosty and just out there and boom. And it's just very pretty and adds a really nice pop of color. So I'm going to put this in my inner corner. Using the super frosted inner corner highlight will also brighten up your eyes and open up your eyes. And then I'm also going to put it on the arch of my eyebrow. Normally I would put a brow bone highlight, but I don't want too much color up there. So I'm only going to put this kind of super intense color in on the arch of my brow. This will also kind of give it more of an effect that you have a more defined arch. And last, for my eyes, I am actually going, this is totally optional, but just to add a little bit more fun and color, I'm going to put a tiny bit of gold glitter on kind of like the inner corner lash line. And this is NYX Liquid Crystal Liner in Crystal Silk. See, it's not too intense, it doesn't add too much, it's not too intense, and glitter is such a fun, good way to just add a little bit more to an eye look without being over the top, depending how you use it. And then moving on to highlight. I am going to use the cream highlight that is in the MAC little compact thing that I used earlier. So using my beauty blender, I am going to kind of just stick this right here. I love this cream highlight. It's very natural looking, and some points, as you can see, it has a very pink undertone to it. At some points when you turn your head, it's very it looks like a pink highlight, and then when you are in a different lighting, it looks gold. It's very pretty. And then add a little bit more to the look. I'm going to take the highlight that is Pure Light highlighter from the Mally Effortless Airbrush palette. I'm going to wet my brush a little bit with Fix Plus, and this will kind of just make it a little bit more metallic and give you just more of a highlight if you are into that kind of boom highlight look. And then just a little bit on the tip of my nose. And then taking a fan brush, I'm kind of just going to go over it, just kind of blend everything together. So to finish up the look, I'm going to move on to my lips. And for prom night, I would recommend more of a neutral nude pink look, depending on what goes with your dress, but most neutral nude lips will go with anything. And so I am going to use Pure Hollywood Anastasia liquid lipstick, and this is just kind of like a perfect nude pink look lip. And then I am also going to put gloss on top of it. It really does give you that glossy wet lip look, and I think this would be perfect for prom, a glossy lip, because if you just use a lipstick, or especially a liquid lipstick, it'll kind of wear off, it'll break apart, and the glossiness will kind of help it last longer throughout the night and kind of keep it moisturized, if you want to say, and just keep it from wearing off. And another tip that has to do with your lips is to make sure you exfoliate and kind of let a lip balm sit on your lips for a little bit, and then kind of wipe it off, and then put your lipstick on. Because if you don't, which I didn't, if you don't, your lips will be a lot more dry. It'll definitely crack your lipstick more. It'll just dry up way more. A good way to exfoliate is actually brushing your lips with a toothbrush. That's my favorite way to do it. I think it works so well. It makes such a difference. So there is a good tip for you. And now that I let that dry a little bit, it is a liquid lipstick, so it is going to be matte. So I'm going to put the gloss on. So here is the finished look. It's not too dramatic, it's very fresh, it's bright, but it does have that kind of smoked out pop of color, but it's not too in your face. I really like it, especially for prom. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I hope you guys enjoyed the look. I hope you use it while you get ready for prom. And I hope you like the tips that I gave you. They are good tips to follow along during your getting ready for prom and partying throughout the night. So I hope you guys enjoy. Thank you for watching. Bye.